The palace of Princess HFY stood on a high cliff on the planet Arion, glowing under the twin suns. The walls were made of shining metal and crystal, and the gardens had plants that glimmered in soft colors. Every year, princes from many star systems came to Arion to try to win the heart of the princess. But HFY had a test that no prince had passed. Today, the palace was alive with noise. Ships from distant worlds landed in the courtyard, each carrying a prince. They wore fine clothes, polished armor, and carried gifts of rare crystals or strange technology. HFY watched them from her balcony, her long hair flowing in the gentle wind. She felt bored. She had seen this show many times before. One by one, the princes tried to impress her. The first prince, Daehyun, displayed a weapon that could shoot fire across the courtyard. He struck it against a crystal, and it sent sparks flying. "Princess HFY, no one in the galaxy can match my power," he said proudly. HFY frowned. Power alone did not impress her. She wanted to see intelligence and kindness, not just strength. The second prince, Kyungho, showed off a ship he had designed himself. It glided above the palace like a dancing star. He bowed before HFY and said, "I can take you anywhere in the galaxy, princess. Only I can give you adventures beyond imagination." HFY shook her head. Adventure alone was not enough. She wanted someone who understood life, not just machines. The third prince, Taemin, brought a chest full of golden jewels and rare flowers. He knelt and said, "All these are for you, Princess HFY. No one has treasures like mine." HFY smiled politely but felt no excitement. Gifts could not win her heart. While the princes competed, Jin-Soo moved quietly through the palace halls. He was a janitor, a human who had come to Arion as part of a small human crew. He wore simple clothes, and no one paid much attention to him. He carried a bucket of water and cleaned the crystal floors with care. Jin-Soo did not seek glory or attention, but he always noticed small things others ignored. He saw a small alien creature struggling in the fountain. Its scales were slippery, and it could not climb out. Without thinking, Jin-Soo knelt and carefully lifted it to safety. The creature chirped happily and ran away. No one in the palace saw this except HFY, who had been watching from a hidden balcony. She felt a small spark of interest. The day went on. More princes arrived, each trying harder than the last. They performed dances, told stories, and even showed off their homes and cities. But each one failed to impress HFY. Some were rude, some arrogant, and some simply foolish. HFY sighed. None of them understood what she valued. Meanwhile, Jin-Soo continued his quiet work. He fixed a broken light panel in the hallway, helped a servant carry heavy boxes, and even guided lost alien children back to their teachers. He did not seek recognition, but his actions showed patience, intelligence, and compassion. HFY watched him in silence. There was something different about this human. He seemed to notice what others ignored. He cared for small details and helped without asking for praise. As evening came, the princes gathered in the grand hall to perform one last test. They thought this was a moment to finally impress the princess. Daehyun tried to demonstrate his combat skills by lifting a heavy object with his weapon. He strained, but the object fell and cracked the floor. Kyungho tried to show his intelligence by solving a puzzle in front of everyone, but he made mistakes and grew frustrated. Taemin displayed more treasures, but HFY yawned quietly. Jin-Soo passed by the hall quietly, carrying a broom. He noticed a broken floor and carefully fixed it while the princes struggled to perform their displays. No one thanked him, but HFY smiled quietly. She liked that he acted without needing recognition. It was a small, simple act, but it showed patience, skill, and care. As the sun set, the princes left the hall, frustrated and defeated. They had tried everything, but none could pass the princess's invisible test. HFY walked to the balcony and looked down at the courtyard. She thought of Jin-Soo, the quiet human who had helped the small creature, fix the broken floor, and care for others without asking for reward. He had done what the princes could not. He had shown his true character through simple, everyday actions. HFY wondered if this human janitor could be the one who would finally pass her test. She did not know much about him, but she wanted to learn. She felt curious, a feeling she had not experienced with any other prince. The sun disappeared behind the twin horizon, and the palace glowed under the soft lights. HFY knew that tomorrow something unusual might happen. Jin-Soo finished his chores and quietly left the grand hall. He did not know that his simple acts of kindness had caught the attention of the alien princess. He walked through the quiet gardens, enjoying the soft glow of the plants. For him, it was just another day of work. But for HFY, it was the beginning of something new, something she had never expected. She felt a sense of hope and excitement. Perhaps this human janitor, so ordinary in appearance, was extraordinary in ways the galaxy had not yet seen. The next morning, the palace buzzed with more visitors and tasks. Princess Hei-Won rose early, her eyes bright with curiosity. She had spent the night thinking about Jin-Soo, the human janitor. No prince had impressed her, but this simple human had shown care and intelligence in small, quiet ways. Jin-Soo was already at work. He polished the crystal floors, arranged the garden paths, and ensured the light panels in the hall shone evenly. Though his work was ordinary, his movements were precise, careful, and thoughtful. He noticed the smallest problems that no one else saw. A cracked tile, a loose railing, or a frightened creature. Jin-Soo fixed them all without complaint. Hei-Won watched him secretly from her balcony. Today, she decided to see more of the human. She wanted to know what made him different from the other visitors. The princes continued to parade around the palace, showing off their wealth and strength. But Hei-Won's eyes followed Jin-Soo as he moved through the halls, helping everyone quietly. In the garden, a young alien child, Eo-Rin, had wandered near the glowing pond and slipped into the water. Her scales were slippery, and she could not climb out. While the princes argued about who would save her, Jin-Soo ran to the edge and carefully lifted her out. He held her close and smiled, calming her frightened chirps. The princess watched and felt a warmth she had not known before. This human cared about others, not for reward or glory, but because it was the right thing to do. Meanwhile, the alien princes tried to show off again. Dae-hyun performed acrobatic feats with a hovering crystal sphere. Kyung-ho explained complex scientific theories, hoping to amaze Hei-Won. Tae-min presented exotic foods and rare flowers. But Hei-Won's attention was elsewhere. She wanted to see actions born of courage and kindness, not demonstrations of pride or skill. In the palace halls, Jin-Soo encountered a small problem. A crate of glowing fruit had toppled and rolled across the floor. It might bruise or break. Without hesitation, Jin-Soo gathered the fruit carefully, arranging them neatly on a tray. He did not announce his actions or seek attention, yet Hei-Won noticed. It was this quiet thoughtfulness that seemed so rare in the galaxy. Later, the princess decided to test Jin-Soo subtly. She disguised herself in simple robes and wandered through the garden, pretending to be a servant. Jin-Soo, unaware of her disguise, greeted her politely and offered help when she seemed unsure of the paths. He carried a watering can to a plant that had drooped overnight and carefully adjusted its leaves. Hei-Won observed silently, impressed by his natural humility and care. Some of the alien princes tried to find him, curious why the princess seemed distracted. They had ignored him before, thinking he was unimportant. Now, seeing her attention on the human, they frowned. They could not understand why she watched the simple janitor while they displayed great feats and wealth. Pride filled their hearts, but they had yet to realize that true worth could not be measured by appearances or gifts. During the afternoon, a minor emergency arose. A small power conduit in the palace failed, causing a section of the hall lights to flicker and dim. The visiting princes ignored it, believing it beneath them. Jin-Soo, however, quickly assessed the problem. He opened the panel, examined the wires, and restored the lights in minutes. The hall glowed again, flawless and bright. Hei-Won, watching from above, could not hide her admiration. He did not boast about his skill. He only acted because it was needed. As the day passed, Jin-Soo helped more than anyone noticed. He guided confused alien workers, tended to sick plants, and repaired small damages before anyone else could see them. Each act was small on its own, but together they showed intelligence, compassion, and a quiet bravery that could not be faked. That evening, Hei-Won called the visiting princes to a formal dinner. They were confident, expecting her to announce the next challenge. But she had other plans. She quietly observed them as they spoke loudly, boasting about their achievements. Each seemed more concerned with themselves than with anything or anyone else. Jin-Soo arrived at the dinner quietly, carrying simple dishes for the staff. He placed them down with care, ensuring everyone received what they needed. Hei-Won noticed how he treated even the smallest alien servant with respect. She realized that human kindness and humility were qualities she had not found in the galaxy before. After dinner, she asked all the princes to leave. They were confused and frustrated, not understanding why she dismissed them. She said nothing about their failures, but her eyes remained fixed on Jin-Soo. He had not sought recognition, yet he had passed tests that no one else even knew existed. Hei-Won decided she would observe him further, for he might be the first being to truly understand her values. Later that night, Hei-Won walked through the quiet palace gardens. Jin-Soo was there too, tending to the night flowers. The glowing plants lit up his face softly. Hei-Won approached him, not revealing her identity fully. She asked about the plants, and Jin-Soo explained carefully, showing knowledge and care. He did not boast, and he listened as she spoke about the alien ecosystem. Hei-Won realized that humans were capable of seeing and understanding life in ways the alien princes could not. They looked beyond appearances and acted with thoughtfulness and compassion. She felt a strange connection to Jinsu, a curiosity that grew stronger each day. As the twin sun set, Jinsu finished his chores and prepared for the night. He did not know that the princess had been watching him all day. For him, it was just another day of work, helping where needed and keeping the palace in order. But for HFY, it was a day of revelation. She had seen qualities in this human that no prince had ever shown: humility, care, intelligence, and courage. She felt hope that perhaps, at last, someone could truly catch her eye. The stars began to appear in the alien sky, and the palace glowed with a soft light. HFY looked toward Jinsu, thinking that tomorrow might bring more surprises. She was eager to see how he would act next. She did not yet know if he would pass her ultimate test, but he had already shown a spark of something extraordinary. The princess felt excitement she had never felt before, for the quiet human janitor had begun to show the true power of humanity through simple, meaningful acts. The morning sun rose over the palace, painting the walls and gardens in soft golden light. Princess HFY stood on her balcony, her gaze fixed on the human janitor, Jinsu, who was already at work. Today, she had decided to watch him more closely. She wanted to understand why this simple human had captured her attention when the princes, with all their power and riches, had failed. Jinsu moved through the palace with quiet purpose. He polished the crystal floors, repaired a broken railing in the hallway, and carefully watered the delicate plants in the gardens. Every action was thoughtful and precise. He noticed the smallest problems and fixed them immediately. No one had told him to do this. He simply acted because it was the right thing. HFY had a plan. She wanted to see if Jinsu could face challenges that the alien princes could not. She created a hidden test, a situation that would require courage, intelligence, and empathy. She did not tell anyone about it. It was her secret way of learning the truth about his character. In the palace kitchen, a small fire broke out in one of the storage rooms. Flames licked the walls, and smoke filled the air. The alien princes were nearby, but they froze, unsure of what to do. They looked at each other nervously, hoping someone else would act. Jinsu, carrying a bucket of water, rushed into the room. He quickly assessed the fire and poured water carefully to control it. He moved with skill, putting out the flames before they spread further. HFY watched from above, her heart pounding. This was the kind of courage she had been waiting to see. Later, Jinsu noticed that a group of young alien workers had become lost in the palace maze. The princes ignored them, thinking it was beneath their status to help. Jinsu guided the children carefully, explaining the path and ensuring each one reached safety. HFY saw his patience and empathy. He did not rush or scold. He spoke gently and clearly. It was a simple act, but it showed leadership and understanding that no prince had displayed. Meanwhile, the alien princes attempted to perform their own tests. Daehyun tried to impress HFY with a flying demonstration, but his equipment malfunctioned, and he fell into the fountain. Kyung-ho attempted to solve a complex puzzle, but he grew frustrated and left it unfinished. Taemin presented rare artifacts, but HFY's eyes did not follow them. She was focused entirely on Jinsu and his natural actions. In the palace gardens, Jinsu encountered a strange plant that had begun to wither. Its glowing petals were drooping, and it needed careful attention. He used his knowledge of plants to prune the leaves and adjust the water. Slowly, the plant revived, its petals opening again. HFY's curiosity grew. She realized that humans had the ability to notice details and respond in ways that aliens often overlooked. During the afternoon, HFY decided to interact directly with Jinsu, still in disguise as a simple worker. She approached him and asked about a small malfunction in the palace irrigation system. Jinsu examined the pipes, found the problem, and fixed it with careful hands. He explained what he had done in simple terms, showing both knowledge and humility. HFY was impressed. He had acted naturally, without seeking attention or reward. The alien princes began to notice that the princess's attention was no longer on them. They grew frustrated and jealous. They had spent years preparing for this challenge, yet a human janitor, whom they had ignored, seemed to be gaining her admiration. Pride and confusion filled their hearts, but they still could not understand why Jinsu acted differently from them. Later in the day, a minor structural collapse occurred in one of the palace corridors. A ceiling panel had fallen, blocking the path. Jinsu arrived and carefully lifted the panel, clearing the way for the workers and visitors. He assessed the area, ensured safety, and repaired the damage as best he could with simple tools. HFY watched quietly, noting his attention to detail and quick thinking. He solved problems calmly and efficiently, without the need to display power or status. In the evening, HFY called the visiting princes to a small gathering. She did not announce any challenge, but she observed them as they boasted of their skills and treasures. Each prince tried to speak loudly and impress the princess, yet she remained silent, her thoughts on Jinsu. They did not understand that true value was not measured by wealth, strength, or status. Haewon realized that only actions rooted in kindness, intelligence, and courage could impress her. Jinsu continued his work quietly. He assisted the palace staff, guided visitors, and cared for the plants and creatures around the palace. Every act was small but meaningful. Haewon realized that this human's nature was genuine. He did not seek reward or recognition. He acted out of empathy and understanding. It was this quality that made him extraordinary in her eyes. As night fell, the palace glowed softly under the twin moons. Haewon walked among the gardens, keeping a quiet distance from Jinsu. She listened as he explained the care of the night-blooming flowers, answering questions as if he were talking to an equal. She felt a connection to him, a curiosity that grew stronger each day. She wondered how such simple acts could hold so much meaning and power. Jinsu finished his chores and prepared for rest, unaware that the princess had been observing him. To him, it had been an ordinary day, filled with work and care for the palace. But for Haewon, it was a revelation. She had discovered that this human janitor possessed qualities no prince had shown. He had courage, empathy, intelligence, and humility. In small actions, he displayed the virtues she had been searching for all her life. The stars twinkled above, and the palace shimmered in their light. Haewon felt a sense of hope and excitement she had never known before. Tomorrow, she thought, might reveal even more about Jinsu. Perhaps he would continue to show her the extraordinary nature of humanity. She smiled softly, knowing that the quiet janitor had begun a past test that no prince had even understood. The hidden challenge was far from over, but she felt certain that Jinsu was extraordinary in a way the galaxy had not yet recognized. The next day, the palace was unusually quiet. The visiting alien princes were frustrated and confused. They had tried everything to impress Princess Haewon, yet none of the displays of power, wealth, or intelligence had succeeded. Meanwhile, Jinsu, the human janitor, continued his work as if nothing had changed. He polished floors, tended to the glowing gardens, and repaired minor damages in the palace with care and patience. Haewon had been observing him closely. She decided it was time for a more direct test, one that the alien princes could never hope to pass. A section of the palace garden had a series of unstable walkways over a sparkling pond. Haewon created a scenario where a sudden accident would require quick thinking, courage, and compassion. As if on cue, a small group of young alien children playing near the walkways lost their balance when one of the boards tilted dangerously. Panic spread among the children. The alien princes hesitated, unsure how to react without risking embarrassment. Their pride and fear of failure prevented them from helping. Jinsu, however, moved swiftly. He reached the unstable board and carefully stabilized it. One by one, he guided the children to safety, keeping them calm with gentle words. When one child's shoe slipped into water, he waited carefully and retrieved it without hesitation. Haewon watched, her heart beating faster. This was the bravery and empathy she had been searching for. The janitor acted without fear, without thought of reward, only with concern for the children's safety. After ensuring the children were safe, Jinsu noticed that the walkways were still unstable. Using simple tools and quick thinking, he reinforced the boards, securing the area for future use. Haewon admired how he acted quickly and efficiently, solving problems that no prince had even noticed. His intelligence was practical and grounded in care, not in show or pride. Later, a small fire broke out in a nearby storage shed. The alien princes froze, debating who should act. Jinsu grabbed a bucket of water and ran to the shed. With calm precision, he doused the flames before they could spread to the palace. The aliens watched in awe, realizing that the human janitor was far more capable than they had imagined. Haewon stepped down from her hidden observation point. She wanted to see Jinsu's response to her direct presence. Approaching him, she asked, "How do you know what to do in all these situations?" Jinsu looked at her with simple honesty. "I just pay attention and do what needs to be done. If I can help, I will. It is the right thing, not for reward or recognition." Haewon smiled. His words were as true as his actions. He was genuine, unlike the alien princes who only sought glory and approval. She realized that the qualities she valued, courage, empathy, intelligence, and humility, were all present in Jinsu. He had passed her hidden test, not through grand displays, but through consistent, thoughtful actions. The alien princes approached cautiously, trying to assert themselves. Daehyun boasted about his combat skills. Kyungho bragged about his intelligence, and Taemin displayed his wealth once more. Haewon ignored them. Her attention remained on Jinsu, the human who had demonstrated real worth. In the evening, HFY gathered the palace staff and the princes for a small celebration. She praised the janitor openly, highlighting his courage, intelligence, and care for others. Jinsu was surprised but accepted her praise quietly, humbly. He did not boast or seek attention. The alien princes, on the other hand, were humiliated. They had tried and failed in front of everyone, unable to match the genuine character of a simple human. As the night grew darker, HFY walked with Jinsu through the palace gardens. The glowing plants reflected softly on his face, showing a calm and thoughtful expression. She asked him questions about his life and his thoughts, listening carefully to his answers. He spoke with honesty and simplicity, his words filled with care and understanding. HFY realized that humans, though small and seemingly ordinary, possessed qualities that could surpass the most advanced aliens. They could be brave, intelligent, and kind all at once, acting with integrity and compassion without thinking of reward. Jinsu was a living example of this truth. The stars began to shine in the alien sky, and the palace glowed under their light. HFY felt a sense of hope and excitement. She knew that Jinsu had proven himself in ways the princes could never imagine. Tomorrow, she thought, would be the day to reveal her decision. For now, she simply enjoyed his company, grateful to have witnessed the extraordinary strength of a simple human janitor. Jinsu, unaware of the full significance of the princess's observation, prepared to rest. For him, it had been another day of work, filled with small tasks and quiet acts of care. But for HFY, it had been a revelation. She had seen the qualities she had been searching for all her life, demonstrated not through wealth or power, but through courage, empathy, and humility. The human janitor had passed her ultimate test, not by grand gestures, but by living each moment with care and purpose. The princess knew that she had finally found someone who could truly catch her eye, someone who embodied the best of humanity in a galaxy full of pride and ambition. The morning on the planet Arion was calm and clear. Princess HFY stood on her balcony, watching the palace ground below. She had made her decision. After observing Jinsu, the human janitor, for many days, she knew that he was the only one who truly understood the values she cherished. Courage, empathy, intelligence, and humility, all were present in him, quietly shown through his actions. Jinsu moved through the palace as usual, unaware that the princess was about to speak to him directly. He polished floors, tended the gardens, and fixed minor damages with care and precision. Every action was performed thoughtfully, without seeking attention or reward. His work, simple as it seemed, carried a quiet dignity. HFY descended from her balcony and approached him. Jinsu looked up, surprised to see her walking calmly toward him. Her eyes shone with curiosity and warmth. She stopped before him and spoke softly but with confidence. "Jinsu, I have watched you for many days. You have shown me what true character means. You do not act for praise, wealth, or power. You act because it is right. That is why you have caught my eye." Jinsu blinked, unsure how to respond. He had never expected recognition from an alien princess, much less words of admiration. I just do what I can," he said humbly. "I never thought it would matter to anyone, let alone the princess." HFY smiled. "It matters more than anything. You have passed tests that no prince could even understand. Your courage, your care for others, your intelligence and humility. These are qualities the galaxy often overlooks. You have shown me the power of humanity in ways no one else could." The alien princes, who had gathered nearby, watched in disbelief. They had tried and failed to impress HFY with wealth, strength, and cleverness, only to see a human janitor praised openly. Pride and confusion filled them, but they could not argue with what they had seen. The princess's words carried authority, and the truth was clear. HFY continued, "I choose you, Jinsu, not for status or riches, but for your character. You have proven that true worth is not measured by power or possessions, but by courage, empathy, and the way one treats others." Jinsu felt a mix of surprise and joy. He had never imagined that his simple actions, done quietly and without expectation, could have such meaning. He bowed respectfully and said, "Princess HFY, I am honored. I will do my best, not just for you, but for all who depend on me." HFY nodded. "I know you will. That is why I trust you. I have waited for someone who understands the importance of small, thoughtful actions, and you have shown me that humans are capable of extraordinary things." The alien princes departed soon after, humbled and silent. They had learned an important lesson, that true worth cannot be displayed through show or boast, but through genuine acts of care, intelligence, and courage. They left with a newfound respect for humanity, even if it humbled them. In the days that followed, Jin-Su's life at the palace changed in subtle ways. He continued his duties, but now he worked with a sense of pride, knowing that his efforts mattered. Hei-Won spent more time with him, observing his methods, learning from his perspective, and sharing ideas. She found joy in his simplicity, his honesty, and his ability to see the world with care and understanding. Together, they walked through the glowing gardens, tended the exotic plants, and helped the creatures that live within the palace. Jin-Su never sought attention, yet his actions inspired all around him. Hei-Won realized that true leadership and greatness could come from humility and empathy, not just from power or wealth. She had discovered a partner who could match her ideals in every way. The palace, once filled with empty displays of skill and riches, now felt alive with genuine care and collaboration. Workers and visitors alike noticed the change. Jin-Su's quiet strength influenced the palace staff, encouraging them to act with thoughtfulness and kindness. Hei-Won's trust in him strengthened the bonds within the palace, creating an atmosphere of respect and understanding. At night, under the twin moons, Hei-Won and Jin-Su would sit together in the garden, discussing the challenges of the day and planning improvements to the palace and its environment. She admired his insights, his ability to solve problems calmly and creatively. He admired her wisdom and her willingness to value qualities often ignored by others. Through their partnership, the palace flourished. The alien creatures thrived, the gardens glowed brighter, and the palace systems ran more smoothly than ever before. Hei-Won realized that the greatest strength of her reign was not in power or fear, but in the quiet humanity that Jin-Su had brought with him. The story of a human janitor and the alien princess spread quietly through the galaxy. It became a lesson in humility and the power of simple acts. Other humans visiting distant planets were remembered not for their technology or achievements, but for their courage, empathy, and intelligence. Hei-Won and Jin-Su continued to work side by side, their respect and admiration for each other growing every day. She had finally found someone who matched her values, someone who could see the world as she did and act with integrity. He had found a place where his quiet virtues were recognized and appreciated. Together, they represented the best of both humanity and leadership, proving that the simplest acts could be the most extraordinary. The stars shone above Arion, and the palace glowed softly in the night. Hei-Won looked at Jin-Su and smiled. She knew that she had chosen wisely, for the human janitor had passed every test, not through show or wealth, but through the strength of his character. Humanity, in its quiet and humble way, had triumphed once again. The following morning on Arion, the palace was calm but filled with anticipation. Though the alien princes had left, the palace's energy was different. Hei-Won felt a quiet excitement as she watched Jin-Su begin his morning chores. For her, this human was not just a janitor. He had become a source of inspiration, a symbol of the virtue she valued most. Jin-Su moved through the palace with his usual diligence. He polished the floors, checked the crystal panels for cracks, and tended to the gardens. Even the smallest creatures and plants received his attention. Hei-Won observed him quietly, admiring his consistency and humility. Each action he performed was purposeful, gentle, and effective. He seemed unaware that the princess watched every step, yet his natural integrity made him extraordinary. Today, Hei-Won had a new challenge in mind, not a test for Jin-Su, but an opportunity to see his approach to responsibility and teamwork. She arranged for a small project in the palace's oldest wing, where the crystal ceilings were dimming and some floors had shifted over time. It was a delicate task, requiring care, attention to detail, and problem-solving. Jin-Su arrived at the location, tools in hand, and carefully inspected the area. He noted the weak supports, the slight cracks in the crystal panels, and the uneven flooring. Instead of rushing, he planned each step methodically, ensuring that his work would restore the area safely and effectively. Hei-Won was impressed. His methodical thinking and patience revealed intelligence and a sense of responsibility that no prince had ever shown. As Jin-Su worked, some palace staff joined him. Hei-Won watched with pride as he quietly instructed them, explaining the tasks without condescension, listening to their suggestions, and encouraging their efforts. The team moved smoothly under his guidance. Hei-Won realized that leadership did not come from authority or status. It came from respect, clarity, and understanding, qualities Jin-Su had naturally. Later, a sudden disturbance arose. A rare creature, a luminous bird native to Arion, had flown into the wing and become trapped. Panic spread among the staff, unsure how to free it without harming it. Jin-Su approached calmly, observing the bird carefully. He spoke softly to staff, directing them to create space, and then gently rescued the bird, placing it safely outside. Hay-One smiled, seeing his courage, empathy, and intelligence in action. He had solved a crisis that required both thought and care, qualities that alien princes had ignored in their quest for attention and glory. In the afternoon, Hay-One approached Jinsu openly. "Your work today is remarkable," she said. "You have not only repaired the palace, but guided others with wisdom and patience. You continue to show qualities that no prince has ever demonstrated." Jinsu bowed respectfully, replying, "I only try to do my best. If everyone helps and works together, the palace will be better for all." Hay-One felt a growing admiration. She realized that humans like Jinsu had a unique ability to combine humility, intelligence, and empathy in a way that could influence and inspire others. He had quietly created a system where care and efficiency coexisted, and it was this balance that she found so extraordinary. As the evening approached, Hay-One led Jinsu through the palace gardens. The plants glowed softly under the twin moons, and the air was filled with the scent of alien blossoms. She spoke of her hopes for the palace and her vision for the future. Jinsu listened attentively, occasionally offering practical suggestions. His ideas were simple but effective, demonstrating a clarity of thought that impressed the princess. The two of them worked together, side by side, making small improvements to the gardens and palace systems. Hay-One admired how his simple, thoughtful actions could create harmony and efficiency. She saw that the greatest strengths were not in grand displays of power or wealth, but in consistent, meaningful efforts to improve the lives of others. Later, Jinsu discovered a minor but potentially dangerous crack in one of the palace support beams. He immediately assessed the damage and created a plan to reinforce it safely. Hay-One watched as he calmly executed the repair, coordinating with staff and making sure every step was secure. Once again, he solved the problem with patience, intelligence, and humility, qualities that no prince had been able to display. As night fell, Hay-One and Jinsu walked along the glowing paths of the garden. She reflected on the past days and the remarkable journey of a simple human janitor who had captured her attention and respect. She realized that she had found not just a helper, but a partner whose character could guide and strengthen her leadership. The palace shimmered under the light of the twin moons, reflecting the quiet brilliance of Jinsu's actions. Hay-One felt hope and excitement for the future. Together, they would continue to improve the palace, care for its inhabitants, and demonstrate that courage, empathy, intelligence, and humility could triumph in any galaxy. Jinsu, unaware of the full significance of his deeds, continued his work with calm determination. For him, each act was just part of his daily responsibilities. But Hay-One knew that these simple actions had extraordinary value. She had witnessed firsthand the strength of human character and the quiet power it could bring to the universe. The story of a human janitor and the alien princess became a quiet legend within the palace and beyond. It was a story not of wealth or power, but of character and integrity. Hay-One and Jinsu continued their work, side by side, showing that even the simplest actions, when performed with care and thoughtfulness, could create great change. The twin moons reflected on the palace's crystal walls, illuminating the quiet heroism of a human janitor and the wisdom of a princess who recognized true value. In the calm of Arion's night, it was clear that humanity, through humility and intelligence, had triumphed once more, proving that courage and kindness were the greatest forces in the galaxy.